I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty One territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Inuit, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. I'd like to introduce the members of the panel, the secretary to the board, and the assessor. To my far left is Mr. Doug Marks. To my immediate left is Mr. Larry Robinson. To my right is Mrs. Crystal Harland. Our assessor today is Ms. Kara Kaplevy on Zoom. And I believe you're the only assessor today, Ms. Kaplevy, because I see there was a Ms. Jennifer Nichols on the agenda as well.
Yes, I'm the only assessor. I believe Miss Nichols did a 15-1.
Thank you very much. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you are free to leave the meeting. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by council and is independent of it and the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will hear items 2 through 10 and 17 on our docket today. Mrs. Harland, please affirm the assessors and the applicant's testimony. We will start with 117 Cordova Street, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. Madam Assessor, would you please state your full name?
Kara Kaplevy.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
And I believe it's Ms. Judith Littleford. That is the first hearing
Yes,
that we
please
will
come
have.
up
So
here.
please come on up here.
I just want to ask, we're going out of order, and you said the property was 117 Cordova?
Yes, it's number 2 on the docket.
Okay, I have that as number, different number further down. I just have to find it. Just give me a
Okay,
second.
thank you.
Ms. Assessor, would you please stand? Oh, sure. I'm going to swear you in. Okay. Would you please state your full name? Judith Ann Littleford. Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated.
Ms. Catlevy, have you got that? The docket was changed late yesterday, so that's probably why you've got them in a different order.
Okay, no one advised me of that. So yes, it would have been nice to be advised of that. Yeah, because I have mine in an old order. Okay, I found Cordova. Thank you.
Okay, great. So could you please make your presentation?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Subject property is 1206051200. It is 117 Cordova Street. It is in the neighborhood of North River Heights, a 1.5-story single dwelling built in 1926 with an effective year built of 1941. It is 1755 square feet. It has a full part basement area with basement finish, 2 full baths, 1 half bathroom, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a multiple detached garage. The assessed lot size is 5,140 square feet. The comparables 1 through 4 are all in the same neighborhood. They're all in North River Heights. Comparable 1 is 207 Elm Street. Comparable 2 is 272 Oak Street. Comparable 3 is 267 Waterloo. And comparable 4 is 211 Cordova Street. As I said, they are all in the same neighborhood, North River Heights. They are all 1.5-story single dwellings with basement and basement finish. The year built is from 1918 to 1928, and the effective year built is from 1938 to 1946. The square footages of the comparables range from 1,532 square feet to 1,700 square feet. Comparable 1 and 2 have a total of 2 bathrooms. Comparable 3 and 4 have a total of 3 bathrooms. Comparables 1 and 4 have central air conditioning. All comparables have a fireplace. Same as the subject. Comparables 1, 2, and 3 have a detached single garage, and comparable 4 has a detached multiple garage. The lot sizes range from 4,821 square feet to 5,245 square feet, with comparable 4 having external corner and light traffic land influence. The sales prices of the comparables range from $447,000 to $550,000. The time adjusted sales price of the comparables range from $478,000 to $525,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $297 to $312 per square foot. The subject property is in this range and has a 2025 assessment roll value of $471,000, which is $268.38 per square foot. Attached is the map of the comparables in the subject. Thank you.
Thank you. I notice you have also attached a permit detail.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you are correct. I have attached a permit that a double garage was built in 2021. Yes.
Okay,
Thank
you. Ms. Applicant, do you have any questions of the assessor?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, please go ahead.
Should I look at her or look at you?
You can look at her, or you can look at me, whatever you
Okay.
prefer.
I noticed the selection of comparables are in the range of $445,000 to $460,000 with the one outlier. And my comparables are similar. I'm very curious to know the influence of combining River Heights and Tuxedo neighborhoods, over which I realize you have no control, but they're very dissimilar neighborhoods. The average house price in Tuxedo is over $900,000. The average house price in River Heights around $420,000. The square footage in Tuxedo higher, River Heights lower, and the price range in Tuxedo exceeds $1 million, somewhere between the range of $1 to $3 million. I calculated this from the city's website, and I'm just wondering if this disparity in neighborhoods that have now been lumped together influences the average sale price.
No, we look at comparables that are similar in the same neighborhood. I did not compare your property to any properties in Tuxedo.
I guess I'm not asking about the comparables. I'm asking because I'm focused on how the city came by an 11% increase in the value of real estate in 2023. And I'm wondering if combining a wealthy neighborhood with a middle-class neighborhood causes that assessment of 11% to be favoring Tuxedo and not favoring River Heights.
I just said that we look at comparables in River Heights. We don't compare River Heights to Tuxedo. The sales that were used for this reassessment are from April 1st, 2021 to April 1st, 2023. So in determining your value of assessment, sales during that time period were looked at, and we found sales in your neighborhood area in North River Heights.
Okay, and also, does the proximity to Academy Road influence anything? Because I've been told by my real estate agent and others that being mid-block is much more preferable to being close to a traffic area, especially since the speed limit has now been reduced on Wellington. The traffic on Academy Road has more than doubled, and there are several complaints in my city councilor's office about this issue. And I'm one house in from Academy Road.
There is no land influences on your area, and Wellington Crescent is back to 50 kilometers. That was only for a period of months.
Half a year. It was half a year. Yeah. Okay. I guess the other question I had, and it is about the garage. So I understand that you included this assessment and permit detail for my garage. It was a new build and it replaced a structure in my backyard where mice had taken up residence, and the fractured floor caused the garage to heave and list toward my neighbor's property and made my garage door not open or close very well, reliably anyhow. So I would have preferred not to replace my garage, that's for sure, because it was so expensive undertaking, but I felt it was a safety hazard rather than a routine home maintenance and repair, which is what your documentation said, that roofing is considered, outdated after 15 or 20 years, and it doesn't include, that's considered normal wear and tear on a home. But I feel that my garage was more of a safety issue. I wouldn't have replaced it if it hadn't been leaning against my neighbor's property.
Ms. Littleford, I'm going to give you an opportunity to make a presentation in a minute. But right now we're asking questions of the assessors. So I'm wondering is there a question in there somewhere?
Yes, why is there a reason for including this when a garage is replaced for safety rather than routine maintenance?
It just shows that your garage is a new build. It was built in 2021.
And does that influence my assessment?
Yes, a new garage does influence your assessment.
So that's my question, like maybe you just have rules that say if you have a new garage, it influences your assessment, but is there any, do you take into account anything about why the garage had to be replaced?
That doesn't matter. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No, they have been answered, thank you.
Mr. Robinson?
I have none either, thank you.
I just have one question, Ms. Kathleen, and I'm wondering, a new garage, how would that influence your assessment? Is there an amount that you would use to increase the assessment of a home if they had a new garage?
I don't have that specific amount. It would not be much. A new garage, though, a garage built in 2021 would add a little more value than a garage built in 1965.
So if a homeowner was building a new garage where they had no garage before, that would raise the assessment more than replacing a garage that was decrepit and had to be replaced?
That doesn't matter. It's just the year that the garage was built.
Okay, thank you very much then. I will turn it over to you to make your presentation,
Okay,
please.
thank you. Does anybody want a paper copy of what I submitted? I have them. if
I
you
think
wish.
we've got them,
Okay,
we've got them electronically, but thank you very
Okay.
much.
So I was surprised when I got my appeal because my assessed value is 12.7% increase over 2023. So I thought that I would take a look at the market conditions in 2023, since you're looking at real estate sales values. And my document has that information. The market conditions for the reference year of 2023 were substantially lower, reflecting an average yearly price change of only positive 0.38% or 3.8%, pardon me. So I would show you the following supportive data. I have a graph and an average monthly price in the year 2023. And I've gone on a larger scale and coned down to my own neighborhood. And you see that there are some negative months and some positive months according to price change compared to the previous month on the first page. If you turn the page over, there was an article in the Winnipeg Free Press on February the 22nd, 2024, which I quote, "The average price of a residential detached house in Winnipeg dropped 3% in 2023 from its record high in 2022. Recent data show it's the first time in 30 years that there has been a decline." Then I looked at a blog, a common blog from Remax. It said the average sale price in Winnipeg housing market decreased 4% between 2022 and 2023. There's some figures there. It's commented, however, that Winnipeg was experiencing an increase in joint family and multi-generational family housing. And the only thing on your website that would compare to that is to look at what happened to attached sales or attached houses. So on the next page, we see from the Winnipeg Real Estate Board that it's true, residential attached housing did increase by about 4%. They attributed that to the financial situation in 2023, and people were looking for cheaper housing options. And then there's the Winnipeg Housing Market Report from December 8th of that year, showing that the average price for residential detached homes for 2023 decreased when you take into account all of the months. So 1 month it's down 10% over the year, the next month it's up 6%, the next month it's down 1%. But when taken together, the Winnipeg housing market, according to this report, dropped on average of around 9%. And this information is for detached housing, which is the category that I fall into. So there's some information about that. So I went to several different sources to find the same information. That in fact, according to your brochure where you say River Heights Tuxedo, real estate market increased by 11%. In fact, it did not. It decreased, and it decreased from the year before, and 2023 is the reference year that you're using. And it said that the prices over the course of the 2023 year, they varied on average from minus 3.7% to plus 2.9%. So I am contesting the fact that you're going to increase the assessment value of my house in the reference year of 2023 by 12.7%, when in fact the real estate market in 2023 was in a negative situation or barely positive situation. The other factor is that the house beside me, which is on the Academy Road side, has been falling into a derelict state. It's influencing the value of my house, I would say. The owner is a contractor fellow, and he wants to change the address to Academy Road rather than Cordova, so he can put a fourplex there. And in the meantime, the shingles are falling off, rats are getting under the porch, the paint is peeling, and the house is it's rental. The lady who lives there is quite lovely with her young son. But the house is not being kept up well. And I feel that being right beside that house is probably bringing the assessment of my house down a little bit. So I've commented on that. Then on the last page, then I have the comparables that I chose, two of which are the same that you chose. I have two others, but they're all kind of similar. And I feel that these houses are referencing similar to my house. I've included pictures of them so people can actually see what they look like. And I did comment on my garage here and why I had to rebuild it. So I feel that 12.7% is too high a value to apply to my house.
That's the end of your presentation.
That's it,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Ms. Capoliti, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yes, I do. Okay, your comps, your comparables there that you used, yes, we do use two of the comparables the same. And if I look at 211 Cordova Street, your comparable there, that you have a sales price of 447,000, is that correct?
That comes from your website.
Yes, so you realize we time adjust the sales prices to April 1st, 2023. So that time adjusted sales price would be 478,300.
Can you explain to me what you mean by time adjusted?
Time adjusted, we look at sales from April 1st, 2021 to April 1st, 2023 and what the market does there. So in 2021, the prices went up. In 2022, the prices went down. And it's only goes to April 1st, 2023. We do not take the whole year into account as your presentation. You had some data there from the whole of 23. We only go up to April 1st, 2023. Okay, and your other comparable, your basically all four of your comparables, we do have a sales price there. And all your comparables really support your assessment. They are within the range, the time adjusted range from $472,000 to $478,000. So you would agree that 447,000 to 478,000 supports your assessment?
I would disagree with the fact that time adjustment is artificially elevating what happened to real estate values, and you're pushing me well beyond even your 11% limit to 12.7%. And I think that that's not fair. That is what I
would you agree that we use two of the same comparables to support your property? 207 Elm Street and 211 Cordova Street?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And would you agree that there are some negative land influences on your comparables? Comparable, the same one, 211 Cordova, is the external corner and light traffic, which would bring down the value of an external negative land factor. And 220 Campbell Street, 433 Cambridge Street has a medium traffic influence. So again, would you not agree that the comparables you used as well as the comparables I used support your assessment?
If you're going to take into account medium traffic influence, then you need to take into account what's happened since the pandemic on Academy Road. That street has become like 401 in Toronto. Can't even cross it anymore. I feel that one house in from the corner is it's actually caused multiple cracks in my house because the house shakes with the amount of traffic that goes by. I've documented that. And I mean, I have a traffic influence now that has been as a result of what happened to the speed limit enforcement in the city and what's happened to traffic on Academy Road. So if we're going to talk traffic influences, I have one too.
Okay, but again, then 433 Cambridge Street with a medium traffic has a sales price of 472,900. So that
What
supports
has
your
sales price of
assessment.
460? That's the sales price.
Well, the time adjusted sales price is 472,900. That supports your assessment. I have no further questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson, do you have any questions of the applicant?
I see there was a new garage you built. What did it actually cost you? Just, it says $34,000 on that permit. Is that your cost?
It was about 38, I would say, but I didn't bring the actual bill with me.
Okay, that's fine.
I think they had to spend more getting rid of the concrete because when they started to excavate it, it had all sorts of old aluminum chairs and kind of garbage in it that had to go to a different place, landfill wise or something. That was added to the cost, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking something here. What amount you would like to see your assessment at? Is between 434,000 and 443,000, is that correct? I'm just reading it.
Well, yes, that is correct based on what my mathematical calculations came up with in terms of the information that was available to me.
Okay, that's all that I have. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Yes, the original build date of your home was 1926, is that correct?
Yeah, so
Okay, since that date, have there been any upgrades done to your home?
well, before I bought it. Is that what you're asking
Yes,
me?
whatever's been done since the original build date.
I guess I don't know what it looked like originally, but I would probably say that the family room was an addition at some time after that. Like when Kara was speaking, she said something about 1945 or 41. Effective year built, what does that mean?
That just gives a combination from the build date to whenever the upgrades were done. It's just a date that is sort of a combination of all the things that were done over the years, and that's the end date they come up with.
So that takes into account what was done between 26 and 41 or
Right.
what?
26 to probably 60, so it's a combination of all the dates that we come up to the mine date of when it came 46 from their period.
Like I've owned the house for 12 years.
Okay.
And I had to put a new envelope on it because the stucco was falling off. So there were holes in the stucco and problems with the insulation and things. And I've had to put heat trace cable on the roof because I had water damage.
Right.
And I had to put a waterproof membrane on one side of the roof. Are those considered upgrades or
That would just be considered general maintenance.
maintenance? Okay, well, I took down a wall inside. Made
So were there any permits taken out?
Yeah.
Okay, and is there a value associated with the permits?
I don't know, I didn't look that stuff up.
Okay, that's fine. That's all my questions.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Marks. And I have no questions. They've been asked and answered, so I am.
Madam Chair, I have one more question.
Okay,
Okay, I just
Proceed.
wanted, or sorry?
please proceed.
Okay, I just wanted to ask the applicant, with the sales there that you provided, even if we don't look at the time adjusted sales price and we strictly look at your sales prices range from 447,000 to 460,000. Now some of those comparables have negative land influences. You have a brand new garage and you really think that your value should be less than the comparables?
no, I can understand why you'd probably put it in that range. I'm disagreeing with 471 for sure, but if it landed up between 447 and 460, I would be content with that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone wish to offer a summation before we move on to the next item?
Yes, thank you. Madam Chair, I believe that the assessment of 471,000 is supported by the comparables. The applicant and I even used two of the same comparables, and those two comparables alone support the assessment of 471,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to make a summation?
I don't have anything else to say.
Thank you both for your thoughtful presentations today. And with that, we will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is Ms. Catlevy, it's 770 Brock for your information.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
And that is Joseph and Aviva Cohen.
Madam Chair, I'll admit the applicant. He's on the lines.
Okay, thank you. There he is. Hello, Mr. Cohen. You're muted, by the way.
Okay, there I am. Thanks.
We're going to have you sworn in before we start the proceedings, please.
Sure.
Mr. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
Joseph Charles Cohen.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Catlevy, if you would like to proceed to make your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The subject property is 1205-182-3100, 770 Brock Street. It is in the neighborhood of South River Heights. It is a two-story single dwelling built in 1965. It has 2,814 square feet with a full basement. It has basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom. It has central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a detached multiple garage. It is a lot size of 6,461 square feet and has a land influence of school. The comparables 1 through 4 are also in South River Heights. The first one is 875 Queenston Bay. The second one is 971 Queenston Bay. The third one is 791 Waterloo. And the fourth one is 1566 Mathers Bay. They are all in the same neighborhood, South River Heights. They are all 2-story single dwellings with full basement and basement finish. The year built of the comparables is 1956 to 1970. The effective year built is 1967 to 1976. The living area of the comparables range from 2,365 square feet to 2,520 square feet. Comparable 4 has a total of 3 bathrooms. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 have a total of 4 bathrooms. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 have central air conditioning. Comparable 2 and 4 each have a fireplace. All the comparables have a detached multiple garage. The lot sizes of the comparables range from 5,306 square feet to 7,197 square feet. Comparable 4 has a commercial land influence. Comparable 1 is an internal corner. The sales prices of the comparables range from $625,000 to $860,000. The time adjusted sales price is from $611,000 to $894,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $249 to $365. This assessment for 2025, it was reviewed with the homeowner during our residential review program. The original value of this property was proposed at $873,000, but an inspection was done and it was recognized that there are issues with foundation, there's structural issues, and the model derived value was reduced to $622,000. At that time, the owner advised that they thought their house was worth $650,000. So upon review, it was lowered to $622,000 which is $221.04 per square foot, the lowest price per square foot. So I ask that the value of $622,000 be confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cohen, do you have questions of the assessor?
No, I don't disagree with anything that's been brought forward. We did have an assessment done on our house, real estate assessment, and it was much lower than we expected. The structural issues in the house are severe. I showed that to the person who came and did the review. We were actually very surprised by the real estate value that we received, and that's the reason why I appealed the 622.
Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
None for me, thank you.
Mr. Robinson, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay, well, let's move on to the applicant's presentation then. Mr. Cohen, if you would like to make your presentation.
So it's really very simple. I don't want to drag this too long. I appreciated very much that the value was brought down to 622. But based on I've supplied photos of the structural issues in the house. I've also supplied the real estate valuation of what they thought that the house could be sold for. And based on that, that's the reason why I've come forward with an appeal. I'm not gonna tell you your business. You know what you're doing, but just based on the state of the house, the 622 seems high to me.
So in the assessment, I see a recommendation was made for 450,000.
Yes.
And is
Yes,
that
I,
is that what
I-
you're asking for?
No, I'm not asking for 450. I realize that if somebody's buying a house in this area, they would pay more. How much more I don't know. There's definitely work that's going to have to be done to the house. The house is dated, and my biggest concern is really the structural issues, which unfortunately we just haven't had the affordability to bring in an engineer to give us a quote on what it would cost to repair, to do the repairs to the structural foundation. If you're asking me, what would be fair, I would say probably around the 550 mark would be a fair evaluation. I believe that people would come in and they would pay more than 450. But I don't see the house selling for more than 525 or 550 based on just based on the structural issues.
Thank you. Ms. Caplevy, do you have any questions of the applicant?
No, I don't.
Mr. Robinson, do you have any questions?
My only question has been answered, thank you.
Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
None for me, thank you very much.
And I don't have any questions that have not been answered, so thank you very much for your presentations. We will move on to the next agenda item. Oh, do either of you want summation? I'm sorry, I'm kind of rushing us along here because we have a lot of items on the docket and a lot of people sitting in the room waiting to make presentations. So if you do
I'm good.
make a summation.
No, I'm fine. I'm
You're all
fine. I
right?
think I've presented. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you both very much then for your presentation.
Thank
We
you. Have a
will move-
wonderful
You too, Mr. Cohen.
day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
We'll move on to the next item, which is number 829 Oxford.
And should be coming up anytime soon. She's on Zoom.
Okay, there she is.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. And you can hear me okay?
We can hear you fine. Thank you very much. Ms. Caplevy, have you found it on the docket? I'm sorry, you didn't get that in the order that we're doing the presentation in today.
Yes, I have. I'm ready.
Okay, great. So can I ask you to make your presentation then, please? Oh,
David-
you have to
Yeah,
swear
yeah,
in the
Chair.
applicant, yes.
Ms. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
Patricia Bell?
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll proceed with your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The subject property has a roll number of 1204-1102-400. It is at 829 Oxford Street. It is in the neighborhood of South River Heights. It is a one-story single dwelling built in 1964 with an effective year built of 1984. It is 1,411 square feet with a full basement and basement finish. There is one full bath, two half bathrooms, and 2 showers. It has central air conditioning and a detached multiple garage. The assessed lot size is 5,417 square feet. Comparable 1 is at 852 Campbell Street. Comparable 2 is at 1428 Mathers Bay. Comparable 3 is 660 Queenston Street, and comparable 4 is 772 Burbank Street. Comparables 1, 2, and 4 are in the same neighborhood, South River Heights. Comparable 3 is the adjacent neighborhood, Central River Heights. All the comparables are single dwellings with full basement and basement finish. The year built of the comparables are 1953 to 1960. The effective year built is 1979 to 1985. The square foot range is from 1,251 square feet to 1,451 square feet. Comparable 1, 3, and 4 has a total of 2 bathrooms. Comparable 2 has a total of 3 bathrooms. All comparables have central air conditioning. Comparable 3 and 4 each have a fireplace. Comparable 1 and 2 have a detached multiple garage, and comparable 3 and 4 have a detached single garage. The assessed lot sizes ranges from 4,799 square feet to 5,939 square feet. The sales prices of the comparables range from $560,000 to $645,000. The time adjusted sales price of the comparables is $534,000 to $643,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $396 to $492. The subject property has a 2025 assessment roll value of $560,000, which is $396.88 per square foot. The property did have a sale in 2019 for $366,000. After the purchase of the house, they did renovations to the house. The permits are attached. A new multiple garage was built in 2021, as well interior renovations took place. It's attached there, which included removing walls, new beams, new carpeting, new drywall, new kitchen, new walk-in closet, and new ensuite, which all contributed to the assessment, the increase of the assessment since the purchase price. So I ask that the $560,000 be confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ball, do you have questions of the assessor?
I do, yeah, before we start. I'm just wondering why we take into account for the examples and the comparables, the sales price and not the 2025 assessment value, because in all of my comparables as well as yours, the 2025 assessment is quite lower than the sale price.
The market is not determined on assessments. Assessments can be wrong. Assessments are always changing. Market is based on sales prices, and that is done every 2 years. Reassessments are done, and for this period for a 2025 assessment, we look at sales from April 1st, 2021 to April 1st, 2023.
Okay. No further questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Robinson, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Total values on the garage and the renovations. What was that total?
So the renovations were about 100, and then the garage was about 30,000.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, and I don't have any questions, so I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Ball, to make your presentation, please.
Okay. So yes, it's true, when we purchased the property, we did renovations. However, the last assessment, I was at 490,000, and that has since now jumped to 2025 for 560. So taking a look at the comparables, I do feel that that is too high. My first comparables in the attachments that I believe you all have, I took a look at my street that has comparable sales. Because something that I will note for the other comparables is that this side of Waverly that my house is located on does have lower value homes compared to some of the other more prestigious or higher value areas of South River Heights. So if you take a look at all of the Oxford Street properties that had sales, you'll see I took ones that had similar square footage. The sale prices, I guess we're not looking at assessment value, so you can ignore that last column. But if you take a look at the sales prices, the time adjusted sales prices, you can see, as the assessor mentioned, I'm at $396 an adjusted sales price per square foot, and the average is 376 per square footage. If you turn the page over, I then took a look at other similar properties outside of Oxford Street in South River Heights. I'm not going to go through each row in detail, but you can see here that the square footage is similar. They all have similar features with finished basements, air conditioning, detached garages, 1-story. You can see with the sale prices, they're significantly lower than what I was assessed at. And again, you can see the time adjusted price per square foot. I guess to finish off, I don't want to take too much time. I did pull up two sort of the higher value comparables. One's on Mathers Bay, which I know that one of the comparables that the adjuster provided was also in Mathers Bay. As you can see, if you take a look at the values of the homes on the maps below, those areas have homes that are in high value all around surrounding those homes. So those, Mathers Bay is one of the most higher value prestigious streets in South River Heights. Same with South Ash Street, close to Mathers Bay. So my side, the streets of Waverly and Cambridge and Oxford, that side of Waverly, if you can see the comparable assessed values of the homes around me, like there's no $700,000, $900,000, $500,000 homes. So while I can recognize that I did do upgrades to the home, and we did have to replace our garage that was also falling apart, I just do feel like this assessment is too high. I'm not arguing that there should be some increase in assessment. I just feel that the $560,000 is too high.
Thank you. Ms. Capidy, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. Your comparable at 820 Oxford, are you aware that it is not a bungalow?
It's listed as a when I looked it up on the property assessment City of Winnipeg website.
No, on your comparable there, 820 Oxford, you don't have what it is. It is a 4-level split. So a 4-level split would be less desirable than a bungalow.
Oh. Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. Okay. Are you aware of the condition of any of your comparable houses?
Yes, 804. I am. It was a renovated home. Everything brand new. We took a look at it. Our friends were looking at it as well. I have not been in 809. Sorry, I just want to correct you. 820 Oxford. That one I believe is right across the street from me. That's not a multi. That's not a, you said it was a multi-dwelling property?
No, it's not a bungalow, so
Oh,
when
sorry, you're
comparing-
right. You're
Yeah,
right.
well-
It is a split. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It just
When
meant to
we're-
show all the properties on my street. You're right. Yeah.
Sure, yeah,
Sure.
when we look at comparing properties, we do bungalows
Okay.
to bungalows.
Okay, yeah, so we can remove
Okay.
that one. It was more of meant that the properties on that street aren't as higher value. Yes, 804 was renovated. It was purchased and completely renovated before it was resold.
Okay, I had a look at that property and that one's got a newer kitchen, but it's not brand new. It's not as modern, but there were some renovations that took place. And the other two properties are pretty original. So would you agree that a house has been renovated should sell for more than a house that hasn't?
It definitely, I mean, I think it should sell more than a house that hasn't been renovated, but I mean, I know the people that purchased 804 and it was a renovated home.
Okay. And 809 Oxford and 736 Montrose are non-renovated.
I couldn't speak to those, no.
Okay, so you do agree that a renovated home would sell for more
Yes.
than a non-renovated?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Thank you. Mr. Marks, do you have any?
What value would you see your home sitting at?
I wouldn't say a specific number. I mean, I agree it would go up. Lower 500, you know, I 530, I don't know, around there. I just feel like the 560's too high.
Thank you, no further questions.
And I have no further questions either, so I'm wondering if either of you would like to make a summation?
Yes, Madam Chair. I believe that the comparables that I use do support the subject property. The subject property has gone through substantial renovations, which increased the value of the property. The applicant's comparables were not, they were kind of what the original house was purchased for, and a renovated house should go for more money than a non-renovated house. So the $560,000 is supported by the comparables. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ball. Would you like to make a summation for us?
Just that I stand in my, I guess in my argument that this side of Waverly, which is on the brink almost of, you know, Crescentwood, does not have the same higher value properties as the rest of South River Heights. It's not as desirable of a location. So while yes, I had renovations and there should be an increase in assessment, what it currently is too high.
Okay, thank you both very much for your presentations today. And that concludes 829 Oxford Street. And we will now move on to number 5 on the docket, which is 917 Ash Street.
Hello,
Hello,
could you please state your full name?
Richard Stafford Condo.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Whenever you're ready, Ms. Caplevy, have you got 917 Ash Street?
Yes, I do. Thank
Oh.
you.
Thank you.
The subject property is 120529451000. It is at 917 Ash Street in the neighborhood of South River Heights. It is a 4-level split single dwelling built in 1968 at 2,058 square feet. It has a full basement and partial basement finished. It has 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom. It has central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a multiple detached garage. Comparable 1 is 798 Brock Street. Comparable 2 is 1412 Mathers Bay. Comparable 3 is 1570 Mathers Bay. And comparable 4 is 683 Centennial Avenue. Comparables 1 through 3 are also in the same neighborhood, South River Heights. Comparable 4 is in JB Mitchell. All comparables are 4-level splits, single dwelling built between 1957 to 1973. The effective year built of the comparables is 1967 to 1978. Comparable 2, 3, and 4 have a full basement. Comparable 1 is a full part area and has a total of 2 bathrooms. Comparable 2, 3, and 4 have a total of 3 bathrooms. All comparables have central air conditioning. Comparables 3 and 4 have a fireplace. Comparable 3 has a built-in attached garage. Comparable 1, 2, and 4 have a detached multiple garage. The lot sizes of the comparables range from 5,096 square feet to 7,816 square feet, with the land influence of commercial and medium traffic. Comparable 2 has commercial adjacent and medium traffic. Comparable 1 has a park influence. The sales prices of the comparables range from $436,000 to $585,000. The time adjusted sales prices range from $480,000 to $590,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $242 to $308 per square foot. Thank you. Oh, sorry, then I guess I have to say the 2025 assessment roll of the subject property is $548,000, and that falls within the range of the comparables. It is a total assessment per square foot of $266.28. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kondo, do you have questions of the assessor?
Yes, one question I have, our last assessment in 2023 was for $448,000. So this represents a $100,000 increase, which is about a 22% increase. Just wondering why that is so high.
Properties are reassessed every 2 years. So every 2 years, we look at current sales. So for the 2025 assessment rolls, sales from April 1st, 2021 to April 1st, 2023 were used to come up with the 2025 assessment.
Another question I have is, does the assessed value of a house have anything to do with the type of street that it's located on? And the reason I ask this is because comparative 2 and 3 are located on bays, whereas the others are located on streets that run straight through. Do you see any influence of the location of the homes there on the assessed value?
Well, you're talking about my comparables on Mathers Bay there?
Yes.
Yes, they have negative land influences there as a medium traffic and a commercial. So that would affect the value. It would bring the value down with those negative land influences.
Now the influences there are not directly in front of them, but in behind, is that?
It says on comparable to 1412 Mathers Bay, it has commercial adjacent and it must be on the corner. So it's a medium traffic influence. And then 1570, it must be on the other corner and has the commercial influence and medium traffic.
I don't have any other questions right now.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions of
Not
these?
for me, thank you.
Mr. Robinson?
I have no questions.
I just have one question, and that is, if I take a look at your comparisons and I take a look at the sales information, I see that for some of the comparisons, for example, comparison 1, it was sold for $575,000 March 28th, 22, but the time adjusted sale price is lower at $552,000. Why would that be?
That is correct. For this area, as I said, we look at sales from April 1st, 2021 to April 1st, 2023. So what we found is that the sales in 2021 went up. So they were time adjusted upwards to April 1st, 2023. The sales in 2022 went downward, so they were time adjusted down to April 1st, 2023.
Okay, thank you. Those are my only questions. I'll turn it over to you. Oh,
I
do
have
you
one
have a
other
question?
question, yeah.
Sorry, one other question for you, Madam Assessor.
Sorry. There is a property right across from where we live, just a little ways down at 928 Ash Street. And I noticed that that was not one of the comparables, but yet it's a 4-level split. I'm wondering why that was omitted.
We have a variety of comparables that we can use. So I just looked, if it's a 4-level split, we just look for comparable properties.
Was there a sale of that particular property?
Yes, there was. It was it was on the sales data here that I make reference to in my letter. It was sold in 2021, and its sale price was 470, but the adjusted price is 488,300.
Okay, thank you. I'm wondering if we could turn it over to you for your presentation now, please.
Sure. My presentation will not be nearly as involved as some of the previous ones, so you
That's
can
fine.
rest
Just take
assured.
your time and
My wife and I were quite taken aback with the significant increase in the assessment. And so we were kind of looking at where some of these comparables are located. And in our experience, because we've lived in the area for over 20 years, and we've walked the area too. We've been over Mathers Bay West and Mathers Bay East, and we've seen the properties in there, and we've also seen that the streets are much quieter in there, and those properties are very sought after, and so there's some belief that the properties there are higher priced than sale straight along Ash Street. We've noticed too that the activity along Ash Street has been quite significant over the years, and I can recall a time when there was some major work being done on Taylor Avenue, where buses had to be routed up Ash. So Ash is a fairly busy residential street there, unlike the other ones in comparable 2 and 3, which are quite different. And so I'm concerned that those comparables where it's focused on the actual 4-level split, but I'm convinced that the location there has something to do with their price, and so I would, with respect, question how comparable they really are to our property. I believe that one other thing on our property, and I know this is all around regular maintenance and care, but our garage has been there. I think it must have been there since Noah, and it's probably had a good life, and there is an attached portion there that had been a pad where a car was at one time parked, but it's now been converted into what's the term? Begins with G.
Gazebo.
Gazebo, yes. And so that structure probably has been around for a long time, and I think if I weren't well into geezerhood, we would be looking at trying to replace that. So I think that brings the value of the property down somewhat, and so I would be much more comfortable with an assessment value somewhere in the neighborhood of 450 to 475,000. And so that is my very slim presentation.
Thank you. Madam Assessor, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yes, I do. Just one. The only comparable that you do mention is 928 Ash Street, correct?
Yes,
Yeah, and it does have a lot of negative land influences. Are you aware of them?
they're probably it's probably right up near Taylor Avenue. Are you talking about the development in behind it, or what?
It does have negative land influences of commercial influence, external corner, and medium traffic. Yeah.
I think I would be aware of that. I still feel that it is a fair comparison, because we're not that far from Taylor Avenue ourselves.
Yeah, but Ash, your address definitely does not have the negative land influences of the other properties. Okay, I have no other questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marks, any questions?
Yes, have you done any upgrades to the home since you moved in?
Well, we've put on a new roof, and in the basement, we had some water down there, so we had to put in a new flooring and a new sump pump.
Basically, just general maintenance.
General maintenance, yeah.
No further questions.
Mr. Robinson, any questions?
No, mine have been answered.
And I don't think I have any further questions either. So I thank you very much for both of you for your time today and your presentations. Any summations that we would like to make prior to leaving this particular item?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time then. And we'll move on to the next item on our agenda. Number 6, which is 864 Ash Street. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
I just want to go check my mail for parking. Oh.
It's Jeffrey Schneider, Madam Chair.
Okay.
And I can swear you in once you're ready.
Mr. Schneider, can you hear us?
Yes,
Thank you.
Ms. Caplevy, are you at 864 Ash Street?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Could you please swear in the applicant?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Applicant, would you please state your full name? Mr. Applicant, Mr. Schneider,
yes.
can you please state your full name, please?
Maybe he can't hear us.
Can you hear us, Mr. Schneider?
Yeah, I'm getting some feedback. I'm hearing there's some delay.
Okay, it might help if you just use your audio and turn off your camera. If you'd like to try that.
Yes, yeah.
Is that better? No.
Yeah, I've done that.
Oops.
Can you hear us now, Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
All right, would you please state your full name?
You know what? Can I just reload? I'm just gonna try reloading Zoom. Just 1 second, please.
Go ahead. Just take him a couple of minutes. Also working. You are on. We're on 864 Ash Street.
You're about 2 away.
Yeah, we should probably. Run it.
Yeah, you go ahead. You can do that.
Thank you.
Should you take a break?
Maybe we'll take a 5-minute break while Mr. Schneider is reloading. Would you please swear in our applicant?
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
Jeffrey Peter Schneider.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll turn it over to you, Ms. Caplevy, to make your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The subject property is roll number 1205-119-1000. It is at 864 Ash Street in South River Heights. It is a 2-story single dwelling built in 1959 with an effective year built of 1969. The living area is 2,223 square feet. It has a full basement and partial basement finish. It has 1 full bath, 2 half baths, 1 shower, and central air conditioning. It also has a fireplace and a multiple detached garage. The assessed lot size is 6,386 square feet. Comparable 1 is at 875 Brock Street. Comparable 2 is at 671 Waterloo. Comparable 3 is 808 Oak Street. And comparable 4 is 848 Campbell Street. Comparable 1, 3, and 4 are in the same neighborhood, South River Heights. Comparable 2 is in the adjacent neighborhood, Central River Heights. All the comparables are 2-story single dwellings built between 1953 to 1962. The effective year built is 1967 to 1989. The square footage of the comparables range from 1,874 square feet to 2,042 square feet. Comparables 1, 3, and 4 have full basement. Comparable 2 has a full part area. Comparable 1, 2, and 4 have basement finish. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 have a total of 3 bathrooms. Comparable 4 has a total of 2 bathrooms. All comparables have central air conditioning. Comparables 1, 2, and 3 each have a fireplace. All the comparables have a detached multiple garage. The assessed lot size of the comparables ranges from 5,045 square feet to 5,999 square feet. The sales prices of the comparables range from $660,000 to $856,000. The time adjusted sales price range from $679,000 to $817,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $357 to $422. The subject property, I have included the permit and some drawings. This property was reviewed during a residential review program. The owner had questioned the square footage amount, saying that it was lower. So the drawings were requested, and we did look at the values, so we made an adjustment to the value. We overrode the value. So in that case, it wouldn't matter if the drawings were 2,200 square feet or 2,015 square feet. The adjustment was an override, and I chose to use smaller comparables and going with the 2,200 square footage that we have. The permit included to redo the basement, the foundation wall, new windows, electrical, and plumbing. So the total assessment was reduced down to $600,000, which is $269.19 per square foot. A message was left with the applicant that if he requested, we could have done an inspection just to confirm the square footage, and we never did hear back from the applicant. So I asked that the $600,000 be confirmed. It is supported by the comparables. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schneider, do you have questions of the assessor?
Yes. So can you please confirm if the assessment is based on the 2,223 square feet amount or the 2,015 square feet amount?
It doesn't, right now it's showing 2,223 square feet, but it doesn't matter because we did an override on it. So if the square footage is 2,015 square feet, the value would be the same for this assessment.
Okay, can you explain that further a little bit, please?
No, that's the explanation I'm gonna give you. We did leave a message with you that if you did want the square footage adjusted, we would have to come out and do an inspection, and that call was never returned.
Okay. Can you explain the inclusion of 808 Oak as a comparable? The reason I ask is because it was sold in 2021 for 511,000 and then sold again in 2022 for 856,000. Can you, how do you reconcile that using it as a comparable?
I don't understand. It's a two-story. It's built in the same year as yours. It has an effective age higher than
Yeah.
yours. It's similar square feet.
I
It has no
understand.
basement finish. It has a multiple garage.
Yes, it was sold twice though within the comparable time period. One at a value that's over 300,000 more than the original sale in 221. So I'm asking, how does that reconcile within the comparables assessment?
Well, renovations would have been done to it, so it would have been in the original state for the sale, and your house is not in the original state, so the 2022 value is more reflected than the 2021 sale.
And when you say my house is not in the original state, that's based solely on the basement renovation?
No, that's based on the year built, so your house is not original to 1959.
And was the 808 Oak, when it was sold in 2021, was that original to its original build date?
I don't know. I don't have that information in front of me. I'm using the sale
right.
price of 2022.
Okay. And can you explain the inclusion of 671 Waterloo as a comparable, given that it's in Central River Heights and not South River Heights?
To find two stories with the square footage, I did go into the next adjacent neighborhood. 3 of the comparables are in South River Heights, the same as yours, and one is just the next door adjacent.
Right, okay. I mean, my analysis found 13 examples in South River Heights that were comparable in square footage and 2 stories, so. And lastly, can you explain if the basement renovation was reflected in the 2023 assessment?
I don't have that information in front of me. It's irrelevant. We're looking at a 2025 assessment.
No, I'm asking based on the permit that was included in your assessment.
I don't know. This is based on sales of 2021 to 2023 to come up with your assessment. And then, as I said, it was overridden to, there was a higher value and we reduced the value to 600.
Okay, I was just wondering why the permit was included in your evidence.
Because the permit work was done. It's recent renos.
Okay, so is that reflected in the assessment value?
That is reflected in the
Okay,
assessment.
that was my question. Okay, that's all the questions I had.
Thank you. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
My questions have been asked and answered, thank you.
Mr. Robinson?
Olivia, I just want to revisit this 2,223 square foot thing. I didn't understand you. Did you tell me that you had adjusted something on the square footage of your comparables to reflect that difference? Or you're just not doing anything about it because the applicant didn't reply to your phone call? That's my question.
No, I was just erring on the side of caution, and I did find other comparables that were similar. 791 Waterloo, which was 2,365 square feet. So I just chose to use one smaller comparable, 848 Campbell Street, which was 1874. So in fact, if the square footage is 2,015 square feet, this certainly is a lower amount of square footage and even shows that the value with a lower square footage is supported.
That answers my question. Thank you very much.
I'm just wondering, if you could let me know what the applicant would have to do to get the square footage reduced if the applicant feels that he has less square footage than what you have indicated.
We have requested a home inspection. That is the only thing we could do now to verify that the square footage is smaller. And as I said, we left a message with the applicant and we never heard back.
Okay, But that can still be done, I'm assuming.
That still can be done, and this value here right now for 2025, it doesn't matter if the square footage was 2,000 square feet or if the value was 2,223 square feet, or because the value was overridden or adjusted.
So can you tell me what the original assessment was before you reduced it to 600,000?
Let me see if I have that information handy. The original assessment would have been 672,000, and it was reduced to 600,000.
Okay, thank you very much. That answers my questions. So we'll turn it over to you, Mr. Schneider, for your presentation, please.
Sure, thank you. So the first item I want to address, and we already sort of touched on this, was of course the square footage. So sometime between the 2021 assessment and now, that was changed by the assessment division of the city. I don't know why that change was made. There was no renovations done to expand the property between when I purchased it and whenever that square footage was changed. So I don't know why that was changed by the city. I suspect it's just a clerical error. You have the emails that I'd sent to the city, and I'd spoke with someone in the department about having that corrected, and they have the blueprints which verify the square footage of the property. I don't think an inspection should be necessary because the blueprints have been provided. They have not changed since those blueprints. So, I don't know what further is required. If an inspection is necessary, I suppose we can arrange that at a future time. Candidly, we have a 7th month at home. It's a bit tough to arrange these sort of inspections when you have a little baby at home. So we weren't really looking to do that right now, especially when it's a little bit more difficult to get out of the house with the weather and everything. So that is something I've been trying to rectify with the city and the assessment department. And if an inspection needs to be done, that was never communicated to me before, other than that voicemail, but it wasn't specific to verifying the square footage. That's something I think that needs to be done to make sure that this is correctly reflected on the city's assessment page. But nothing has changed since the 2019 sale in terms of square footage. So I just wanted to make sure that's going to be correctly reflected in the assessment. The second area I wanted to raise is the condition of the property. I submitted some pictures of the exterior, some quotes for work that needs to be done to the exterior. And some of it is general upkeep and maintenance. There is a section of flat roof that gets ice damming in the spring that needs to be rectified and sort of renovated into some sort of sloped roof to correct that. The eaves, soffits, fascia all need to be replaced. I don't think that's just general maintenance, that's a capital repair. The garage is sinking and has water egress in the spring. I had submitted the property condition report that was included in my offer to purchase when I purchased the property in 2019, evidencing that. I had also included a quote to have a mini split system installed in the sunroom, as it's not connected to the other HVAC system that services the house. It's only heated by baseboard heaters. There's no air conditioning in that room. And I would also like to note that the fireplace in that room is not functional, even though it's noted on the assessor's report. I think what I'm trying to convey here is that this property is in very average condition for this area of River Heights, and perhaps River Heights as a whole. It's been updated here and there throughout the years, but no recent substantial renovations other than the basement renovation, which was undertaken in 2020, and again reflected in the 2021 assessment. Some of the comparables which were advanced by the assessor, namely 808 Oak, as I sort of indicated from looking at the different sales prices between 2021 and 2022, there were significant renovations done to that property, and actually our friends bought that property, so it has been substantially upgraded, and I know that just from being friends with them, it's been top to bottom, inside out. There's about $250,000 of work that was done to that property, which reflects its much higher sales price. My property, again, is a very average condition. It's not a top to bottom renovation, so I don't think that's a good comparable. The market assessment that I had submitted as evidence took into consideration 13 other applicable properties in South River Heights. And when looking at them as a whole, based on the time adjusted sales price and the time adjusted price per square foot, and then looking at my property based on the 2,015 square feet amount, I got a median sales price of $558,054 for my property based on that sort of broader market analysis. And I think that's a more accurate assessment for my property versus the $600,000 amount that's being brought forward by the assessor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Capolini, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yes, I do, but I just want to first clarify that the square footage of the assessment department did not change from one assessment to the other. We have always had the 2,223 square feet. It was yourself that brought a discrepancy to us. The blueprints were provided, and both of us included that in our submission. As you can tell, the blueprints are very not legible. It's hard to read those blueprints, and that's why in order to correct that square footage, an inspection would have to be done. Okay, that just clarifies that. And now I'm sorry, I don't have any specific sales that were brought to my attention. I know you included the sales data book, 82 pages worth. Did you have any specific sales that you mentioned?
I included the market analysis as evidence.
Okay, but no specific sales where I gave you 5 specific sales.
I presented 13 specific sales.
Where were those? I didn't get those.
That
I got
was
the drawings, and I got 82 pages of
In front of the 82 pages.
yeah.
it was item 12 in the documents I had included.
Okay, I'm not sure about that. There was so much here, so I don't know. The 808 Oak, you did say is substantially renovated. That is correct. And as you can see, their sales price is significantly higher than yours. That's correct.
Sorry, I don't want to interject, but did the board get the market analysis that I had sent?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Thank you.
The 82 pages, correct?
No, it just says 13 properties that were separated out from that 82.
Okay. Okay. And it is correct that you redid your basement after you purchased the house, correct?
Correct, yes, and that was factored into the 2021 assessment.
Well, that would also bear on the 2025 assessment too. Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson?
The valuation that you think it should be, is that average 558,000 rounded to 560,000? Is that what you're thinking the assessment should be? Or
I would accept that. I was thinking 550, but I would accept 560. I don't think we're too far off from the assessment value. I think 560 would be fair. I would be fine with that amount. That's pretty much right on the median amount that I came to, so I think that would be fair.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Marks, any questions?
No, my question's been asked and answered, thank you.
I just have a couple of things. One is, I believe you have submitted an estimate of upgrades that need to be made to your house as well as pictures of the current condition.
Yes,
Can you tell me, did you take those pictures?
yes, I did.
And when were those pictures taken?
This past Saturday.
Okay. I'm also wondering, the upgrades that need to be made, the estimate is $225,300, if I'm reading that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And also, I just want to get back to something that I think the assessor said at the beginning of her presentation. Did you say there was a partial basement finish?
No, it's full basement finish.
It's a full basement finish? Okay, I thought I
Yes.
heard you say it was a partial basement finish, Miss Cavallini, but if it's a full basement finish, that clarifies that for sure. I think that's all my questions. Would anybody like to make a summation, Miss Cavallini?
Yes, I would like to make a summation that the subject property at $600,000 is supported by the comparables. It actually comes in the lowest value per square foot. And I ask that that value be confirmed. Thank you.
Mr. Schneider, would you like to make a summation?
Yes, please. So again, I think that $560,000 valuation is a much better reflection of the actual condition of my property and the broader market conditions of the South River Heights area.
Hey, thank you very much, both of you, for your presentations and the materials you submitted. And that brings an end to 864 Ash Street, number 6 today. Thank you. And we'll move on to number 7.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider.
Thank you, everyone.
And that is 841 Oak Street. Mario Lavar.
And there is no applicant here today, Madam Chair.
And no presentation?
No
submitted?
submission either.
Okay, we'll put that to the end of the docket today then.
Okay.
And we'll move on to number 8, which is 956 Queenston Bay. And I understand that there may have been some late evidence.
Yes. I'll admit the applicant, Madam Chair.
Hello,
This was
Mr.
asked.
Denunus.
And
I'm
no
sorry.
No submission either.
Okay, we'll put that to the end of the docket today then.
Okay.
And we'll move on to number 8, which is 956 Queenston Bay.
Mr.
And I
Denise,
understand.
can you shut off
there's
your
some late
YouTube if you have it playing,
Yes.
please?
I'll admit the
There we go. And you're muted. I'm not sure if you can hear us.
I can indeed hear you. Sorry about that.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
I forgot the YouTube in the background. I apologize.
Yeah, it happens all the time, so
So good.
don't worry about that. So I understand that we have some late evidence that you would like to present, and I'm just wondering why that evidence is late.
Honestly, we have 2 small children and we've had a hard time finding time, which is honestly no excuse given how long we've had this information, but there we have it.
And when did that evidence come in?
It came in, I believe 2 nights ago.
2 minutes ago?
No.
2 nights ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're gonna have to take a short break here to determine whether we will hear the evidence. Do any of the other members of the board have a question?
Do we know what it is received?
It's in the OneDrive folders and in the
Okay.
board's evidence folders. Would you like to take a break, Madam Chair? I can take us offline.
I would like to take a break, yes, to have the board consider whether we will consider the evidence. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Applicant, the board has taken a look at the circumstances surrounding your late evidence, and we have decided that we will hear the late evidence. You've submitted a lot of evidence. So I'm going to turn it over first of all to the assessor to make her presentation, but we have agreed we're going to hear it.
Thank you.
Madam Assessor, if you'd like to make your presentation, please.
I think I have to. Swear.
Oh, you have to swear him in.
Yes.
Yes, sorry, I did it again.
It's okay. Mr. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
Sure. Michael Andrew Roland de Dennis.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Assessor, I turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I just want to clarify, like I received one piece of paper here that was on time. And now that I just received an email of 3 pages that was late. Is that correct?
Yes, I just sent you what I had for the late evidence, Madam Assessor.
Okay, which of course I haven't had any time to review, but I did review the initial that was sent. Okay, the subject property is 120605691100. It is located at 956 Queenston Bay in South River Heights. It is a 2-story single dwelling built in 1969 with an effective year built of 1979. It is 2,192 square feet, a full basement with basement finish. It has 1 full bath, 3 half baths, 1 shower. It has central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a detached multiple garage. The assessed lot size is 5,607 square feet. Comparable 1 is 888 Queenston Bay. Comparable 2 is 671 Waterloo. Comparable 3 is 875 Brock Street. And comparable 4 is 808 Oak Street. Comparable 1, 3, and 4 are in the same neighborhood, South River Heights. Comparable 2 is adjacent in Central River Heights. They are all 2-story single dwellings built between 1959 to 1962. The effective year built of the comparables is 1982 to 1989. The square footage of the comparables ranges from 1933 square feet to 2,356 square feet. Comparable 1, 3, and 4 has full basement and basement finish. Comparable 2 has full part basement. Comparable, 1, 2, and 3 have basement finish. All comparables have a total of 3 bathrooms. All comparables have central air conditioning. Comparables 2, 3, and 4 each have 1 fireplace. All the comparables have a detached multiple garage. The lot sizes of the comparables range from 5,045 square feet to 5,345 square feet. Comparable 1 has a negative commercial influence and medium traffic. The sales prices of the comparables range from $700,000 to $856,000. The time adjusted sales price is $663,000 to $817,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $281 to $422 per square foot. The subject property had an August 22 sale of $750,000, and the 2025 assessment roll is $713,000, which is a total assessment per square foot of $325.27. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, do you have questions of the assessor?
Yeah, I think my main question is in how we assess the renovation levels of the comparable properties, because one of the things that I noticed is that 3 of the comparables mentioned were very much full of luxury upgrades and very new finishings and very expensive touches that our home really doesn't have. So I'm just wondering, maybe that it isn't taken into account. I'm not sure, but it would be interesting to hear.
Well, as you can see, the comparables have effective age ranges, so the upgrades are taken into account with the effective age ranges.
Okay, and the effective age ranges of the comparables are significantly newer than ours.
Not really. Comparable 1888 Queenston Bay is 1982. Yours is at 1979. And comparable 671 Waterloo is at 1978, and yours is at 1979. Actually, yeah, and then the other two, 875 Brock and 808 Oak Street, are a little higher than your effective age.
Okay, thank you. Basically all I had to go on here was old real estate listings of those properties. So I looked at them and it sounded like they had significant renovations done within the last 2 years. So
Is that all your questions for now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
No, not this time. Thank you.
Mr. Robinson, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay, so I just want to confirm that this property was sold August 17th, 2022 for $750,000. And
Correct.
now the assessment is less at $713,000. Is that correct, Madam Assessor?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions, so I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Applicant, to make your presentation, please.
Sure. I think one of the things that is really relevant here is we're not supposed to present other assessments as evidence, but really they are the best really indicator of whether or not properties in general across the city are being assessed fairly. And one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of properties which didn't sell recently, so we can't use them as comparables, have had very small increases, on the order of say 10%, whereas ours increased 30% in the same period, where they initially had very similar assessment levels. So I really feel like part of what's happened here is that tail end of the 2022 rush is not necessarily being captured in the city's modeling of properties that didn't sell as well.
Well, we're not here to argue with the city's assessment model,
Fair.
and we
That's
cannot
fair.
consider other assessments. And
I understand.
your
that.
assessment has in fact gone down from your sale price.
Yes.
So proceed, please, if you have other things that you would like to present to us, but we can't consider other assessments.
Yeah, well, I have the comparable sales, which I provided in my more recent evidence submission, which I feel are at a much more similar finish level to our home. Many of them are on our street. I did say that one of the homes that you had discussed is a fairly reasonable comparable. I feel like some of the others are not as much, but that's about the extent of what I've got here.
Are there a couple of sales that you would like to highlight for us? That you think are most appropriate and comparable to your own property?
Sure. We saw 3 different sales on our street recently. 959 Queenston Bay in 2021 for 616,000. It's a slightly larger home, but had similar finish levels to ours. We have 971 Queenston Bay in 2021. Sold time adjusted 716. Slightly larger, similar finish level again. 1003 Queenston Bay sold for 625 in 2021, time adjusted 661. It's slightly larger square footage. We weren't able to see pictures of the time it was sold, but right now has more modern finishings. Was probably fairly similar to ours at the time.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to your presentation before we move on?
I think that's it for me for now. Thank you.
Ms. Kaplevy, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yes, I do. What can you tell me there about your sale? It was private and not on the open market. How was the sales price determined?
Sure. Our realtor was representing both clients at the time, and they didn't want a lot of people in through their house, so they had decided to try to arrange for a private sale.
Sorry to interrupt, I can barely hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? Is that better?
A little bit, not much.
Okay. I will crouch by my computer here. Is that better?
That's better, yes.
Okay, cool. Our realtor represented both clients, and he had put us in touch with them, and we came to an arrangement ahead of time. And that was the price that we decided was fair. It was during a time when housing prices were going absolutely nuts. We came to the agreement the week before the initial interest rate increase that started to cool things a little bit. So it was right at the height of that buying frenzy. So that's influenced us somewhat in the higher price that we paid at the time. And that's somewhat reflected in the reduced assessments that the city's provided, but I don't think as much as it should be.
Okay. What upgrades have been done to your house prior to purchase?
Mostly maintenance and painting. There have been some built-in units done. The kitchen was the cabinetry and appliances were redone in the early 90s, I believe. So again, 30-year-old finishings. Nothing that you'd consider high-end these days. There was some flooring done in the kitchen and laundry room area in I believe in the same era. Wallpaper and paint. Good maintenance over the years.
Okay, are you planning to do anything to your house since purchase?
Mostly maintenance items. We have a roof coming due that we're going to be doing soon, as well as we replaced the furnace recently. Nothing that really has a substantial value impact on the home.
I see you requested your drawings from PP&D.
Oh yeah, our realtor did that on our behalf. Yeah.
Okay, and your late evidence here that was submitted that I have not had a chance to review. You did mention one property, 971 Queenston Bay, that you said was similar to yours. Is that correct?
I believe so. Let me just look up that one. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and that time adjusted sales price was 716,900. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so that does support your assessment of 713,000. Thank you.
Well, when you average in
No
the other
further
properties, it does not as much. That was the highest of the properties that we listed.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson, do you have any questions?
And what do you think the assessment should be?
Based on both the averaging of the assessments of the 96 properties, which I included in my initial evidence, as well as these 4 comparable sales, which occurred within the period, I feel that around 650,000 would be a reasonable assessment. I'm open to discussion.
Thank you. Is that all your questions?
Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Yes, the comparables you've got We've got 156 Maters, 959 Queenston, 971 Queenston, and 1,003 Queenston. They're all roughly around the same value as your home, are they not?
Sorry, I missed the last part of that.
Your comparables are roughly the same as your home. But they've got a few more.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Roughly the same size homes as well?
Yeah, they're typically either the same size, slightly larger.
And any upgrades that have been done in your home since you're taking possession?
Nothing more than maintenance items like windows and furnace.
Windows and furnace, that's a pretty big ticket item, so you've replaced all of the windows?
Not all of the windows, just the windows across the back of the house. But again, you know, maintenance, they were original to the house when we bought it, so it was time.
Thank you, no further questions.
Okay, and my questions have been asked and answered, so I am wondering if either of you or both of you would like to make a summation. Ms. Cavalini?
Yes, thank you. I would ask that the value of $713,000 be confirmed. It is less than the applicant paid, and my sales here, the comparables do support that value of $713,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, would you like to make a summation?
Sure. I would like to say that there are a different set of sales of more appropriately similar homes, which are significantly less. And I feel like the value isn't outrageously high over what it should be, but it is possibly on the high end of reasonable.
Okay, thank you very much then. That concludes our matter number 8, which is 956 Queenston Bay. Thank you very much. We will now move on to number 9, which is 42 McCallum Crescent.
Have a good flight.
And I understand we have late evidence again.
Yes, we do.
So can we know the rationale? That's you, I assume?
Yes, that's
two of us.
Okay,
Would you like to approach the table? So you're both going to present?
Yep.
Okay, I'll need to swear both of you in. And Ms. Applicant, may I have the correct spelling of your first and last name?
Ann Nugent, A-N-N-E,
Or rather N-G.
N-U-G-E-N-T.
Okay, thank you. I'll swear you in first. Would you please state your full name again?
Ann Nugent,
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
Claire Nugent.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you both?
all right. Well, before you take a seat, I understand there's late evidence.
That's right, yes.
So,
We'll need to take a break if you'd like.
well, I'd like to know the reason for the late evidence first before we.
Well, when we were looking at this, when we received the document from the assessor through the clerk's office
which is on Monday.
on Monday, we saw all the comparisons were single-story bungalow homes.
One story.
1 story, I believe is the terminology. Our home is not a 1 story. Our main floor has a 2nd floor staircase to a 2nd floor loft and
I'm not sure what they call it. It's like a 1 story with a cab over or with a
the cab
1.5
over.
story.
Yeah.
So there's a
And then
room above the
there's-
garage and above the
Right.
kitchen.
And over the kitchen.
So it's like, so we brought in a real estate agent to kind of confirm, like, you know, because we don't know how it compares 1 story to, and he said there is a difference in selling price. So then we got him to send us a couple of
He was good enough
properties that
to
were
do it.
compared, yeah, on a quick spur of the moment, kind
Okay.
of send us some couple comparable properties that he would be able to do. So that's why it was submitted the next.
Yeah, we submitted it on Wednesday
Okay,
to
Okay.
you guys.
thank you. Do you think you can give us a few minutes to
Yeah,
Sure can.
see whether we're going to hear that evidence first? Sorry.
We can just leave this here.
Just leave that here.
You can leave
Yes.
that,
Okay.
okay.
Thanks.
I'll put the assessor in the waiting room.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. So we're dealing with item 942 McCallum Crescent, and we have decided we're gonna hear the late evidence.
Thank you, really appreciate that.
So we've sent it to you, Madam Assessor. I don't know if you have it at this stage of the game. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Hi, do you want me to proceed?
I want you to proceed. I'm just asking if you received the late evidence for this property.
When I was muted, no, but I have just received it now.
Okay. Did you want a minute to review it before you proceed?
It would take me probably more than a minute.
Okay. Well, maybe we can then proceed with having you do your assessment and then have the applicants do their presentation, and you, if you have any questions or whatever, we can do it at that stage.
Sure,
Okay.
certainly. Okay, I don't know now because we have this as a single dwelling, 1 story. There was, the homeowner did contact us for residential wrap program in 2024, so I'm not sure why it was never advised that it wasn't a 1 story. I just looked quickly here at the permit. It said a 1 story, so I'm going to proceed with it being a 1 story. The subject property is 01005869100. It is 42 McCollum Crescent. It is in the neighborhood of 627 South Boyne. It is a 1 story single dwelling built in 2003. The permit in 2002 indicates that it's a 1 story build. The living area is 2,207 square feet. It is a full basement with basement finish, 2 full baths, 1 half bath, 2 showers. It has central air conditioning, 2 fireplaces, and an attached multiple garage. It has an assessed lot size of 9,648 square feet. Comparables 1 through 4 are in the same market region, similar neighborhoods, different neighborhood areas. The first one is 70 William Marshall Way. The second is 260 Fairmont Road. The third is 54 Kincora Drive. And the fourth is 3604 Villu Drive. They are 1 story single dwellings with full basements and basement finish. They are built between 1966 to 2008. The effective year built is 1992 to 2008. All comparables have a total of 3 bathrooms. All comparables have central air conditioning. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 each have 1 fireplace. Comparable 4 has 2 fireplaces. All comparables have an attached multiple garage. Comparable 4 also has a detached multiple garage. Comparable 2 has a sunroom. The lot sizes range from 8,205 square feet with commercial adjacent to 12,260 square feet with external corner 2-way stop. The sales prices range from 640,000 to 850,000. The time adjusted sales price is 675,000 to 799,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $383 to $415. The 2025 assessment roll is 699,000, which is a total assessment of $316.72. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask the applicants if you have any questions of the assessors.
Yeah, one question here on, you said you've picked an array from similar areas, not just our area, but similar areas. How much does an area influence the valuation, the selling price, and subsequently what taxpayers want to know, the assessed value of a property?
Well, our assessments are based on sales prices, so these were all within the same market region, so they have an overall same effect.
When you say the same market region, like some of the houses are in a much more affluent, I guess, or upscale neighborhood, like they're the old Richardson property that you're comparing it to. Our area is not quite as affluent in terms of the, you know, the outside cladding of the houses, the types of houses. So when
I'm
you say,
not even sure which property is Old Richardson.
That
Estate.
would be your William Marshall Way.
Okay, the
one-
old William Richardson estate has nothing really to do with it.
It's just an
the same-
identifier. for
yeah,
us
no,
old
no, just,
people.
yeah, just trying to say like, so that area, I guess
Ridgedale.
the Ridgedale area, we're just wondering, like that Ridgedale area is again more upscale than our area. So how does that sort of the neighborhood that you're in influence the valuation?
It's all classified, your market region is all classified as the Charleswood area, so we don't use different different market regions, it's all classified as the Charleswood area.
But do you guys take into, I mean, Charleswood being very fluctuating in terms of areas, do you guys take that into effect at all? Like,
Yes, well, that's where we have to look at similar properties, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Is that all your questions?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Yes, the big one for me is, this is not a bungalow. It's a two-story home. Now you're putting bungalows that are larger in square footage than their two-story home is. And everybody knows that a large bungalow is gonna go for a higher dollar at the end of the day. So how did this get missed in this whole procedure?
That's a good question, and I guess the applicant is gonna let us know because this is all coming as news to me. And as I said, our permit shows that it's a one-story. All the correspondence a homeowner would have had since 2003 would have indicated it was a one-story. There was a recent residential review program with the homeowner, and they never advised any differently. So
know anything
the
about that?
homeowner will explain all that.
So from original build date, 2003, the city looked at this as a bungalow. Is that correct?
For me, that is correct. Yes, we show a loft above the garage area. That's what my records show.
A loft above the garage area. That's
Yes.
not Bungalow then, is it?
Yes.
So why wasn't it pursued any further at that point? When there was a loft above the garage?
I show 438 square feet above the garage, so as a loft, and it is classified as a one-story. I have no other information beyond that.
No further questions. Thank you very much.
Mr. Robinson?
You didn't have a picture of this house in your possession, do you?
I do,
Do you?
I do.
We can't
Okay, you can't.
enter that as evidence because I don't think we have it to send to.
Okay, but
the
we can,
assessor.
there is a
I just-
picture that I can see, if you just hold it up there.
I just saw it
Mr.
from
Robinson,
Google.
please.
Can we hold it up to the camera?
I just took it from Google, so I don't, I
Okay,
thought you guys
so I
were
can
the,
find in Google.
you can find in
Same
Google,
thing.
yeah, this is
I
just
just,
from Google.
this is, I'm confused that it was one story and a two-story and a whatever. I'd really love to see a picture of this house. Is there any way I can do that? Madam Chair?
I think that what we're gonna do is finish questioning the assessor because the assessor does not have a.
My
picture
question
as
was,
part
do you
of
have a
her
picture?
evidence.
Your answer is no, so that's the only question I have.
Can
Thank
I
you.
have one more question?
Can we just finish the?
Sure, I
question?
just the residential review, I wasn't sure.
You indicated, Ms. Caplevy, that, the homeowners were part of the RAP program this year?
Yes, they had contact with someone in our department, yes.
Can you
And as well, there's been prior contact with the homeowner through the years.
Okay. Was there contact with regards to this particular assessment?
Yes.
And can you tell me when that was?
I have it dated here as March 24th. It may not have been March 24th because during the residential review program, we're taking multiple calls a day. So I'm not sure the homeowner would be able to advise if his appointment was on March 24th or if it was before that.
Okay, thank you. You had one other question?
It was in regards to that very thing, and we phoned to contest this, and that was the only review we got. Then we were told to, that we were advised that further things would happen, and we phoned again to find out what was happening, and that's how it led to this, basically.
Okay.
So that was the only review, like we were never asked any details, in other words, about, we were just saying that we wanted to contest our evaluation, our assessment.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now I'll turn it over to you for your presentation, please.
Okay.
Before we do that, though, I am wondering, Madam Secretary,
Yes.
is there any way that we can go to Google to get a picture of this house?
I need to talk with the manager of the Board of Revision, Lisa Hunter, about that.
Okay.
I can't answer that question for you.
Okay, well, before we do that, then let's have the presentation without the photograph and see what the applicants have to say, and then if we need to consult with Ms. Hutter, we will do so.
Fine, thank you.
As you could well imagine, when we received our assessment of $699, we were surprised to say that it would increase almost 11%. And looking at, and I know you can't, this board cannot look at assessed values. The normal person jumps onto the assessed values, which is common throughout, and seeing our house being assessed $130,000 to $180,000 more than houses around us led us to this point right now. That's where we were coming from. We think it's overvalued at $699. We have in our mind, we have three significant adverse impacts on our property, which is in there documented. We have a townhouse multifamily unit. It was rezoned after it was built. The house was built. It was
2021.
in 2021, and that was built adjacent to our property.
So originally it was a single family residence that had a nice wooded area. They got it rezoned in 2021. They built this condo complex beside us, which significantly impacts
The neighboring properties around our whole neighborhood
contested it.
but does impact us directly. That's one of the significant impacts on our property.
And these pictures you've submitted are.
That's
The condo
yeah.
Not in your late evidence.
No, no,
but
no.
In your
In our
original.
original
Yeah,
evidence,
the
yeah.
two pictures show the condos next to us, the
Right.
multifamily, and then there's one picture of the pump house, which is the second adverse impact on us that has
It's a
dated
sewage treatment building.
sewage pump house.
Yeah.
And they made renovations to that, I'm gonna say 2-3 years ago. That eliminated the tall chimney that was there, so it could just, before it was able to disperse the smell better. And they also, part of their mechanical system, they added a generator in there that is very, very loud. And which can go off during the day or at night when you're sleeping. And
It scares our dogs. Like
scares our dogs.
Yeah.
It rattles our house.
I've had broken glasses because I opened the cupboard door and the glasses have moved so that they fall off the shelves. Our next door neighbor actually was talking to her and she complained the same thing, that her china has actually moved because of that generator making so much noise.
And so, we have tried endless times to work with the city to say, hey, this is detrimental to the area. Can you do something?
And it's the smell too, like, and it's not just in summer, it's in the winter too.
You can't,
We've had
it's
friends over.
embarrassing having
Yeah.
friends over and either the pump house generator goes off or the smell is so bad, you
You
have to
can't-
go inside.
You can't talk when the generator goes off, you have to go inside, and then the smell, I mean, it's not all the time, but sometimes it's worse than others, and it's been significant, even in winter, like even when we go to the front of our house,
You
like,
can,
you can
you can
smell it,
smell.
you know, it smells.
And that's
Yeah.
still a work in process on our side
We're still-
to again go back to the city and see what can happen with that. So that does have an adverse impact on us. And the third one, we are close to Roblin Boulevard. It's a heavy traffic area.
There's one house behind us before Roblin.
And we used to have a thick wooded space behind us, which blocked a lot of that sound coming through. Now we have houses and it seems it reflects off the houses, bringing that noise in.
The other thing is there's increased density now in Charleswood. They have new developments. There's the Ridgewood, what is it, Ridgewood? It's called?
Ridgedale?
Ridgedale.
Oh,
and-
no, Ridgewood West.
Oh,
Ridgewood
okay.
West.
The
And
development,
then
so
this-
it's
and
bringing
then
more
this-
traffic.
And the Scotswood development, which is just down in Scott, does bring more traffic.
into
And we
the
also heard of
areas.
the street racing that happens too, but anyways, but yeah, there's an increase. And there's also an apartment that just got recently built, but that's after 2023. But there's a lot more traffic going on Robin now, so we hear it. Our dog, even like ambulances and fire trucks a lot more often, our dogs howl too when they hear it, but yeah, it's a lot, it's affecting us a lot more. In terms of the noise level, it's not the quiet backyard between the generator and the traffic and the increased condo complex that was built beside us.
And it's really hard to compare, at least for us. I don't know if the assessor to find a similar property that's adversely impacted like that. Nice neighborhood, nice people. But even going back to our question on comparable homes, this property, Ridgedale area, is much more affluent than ours. You can just drive in there and you see the difference in the type of homes there are in that area. And it's pretty hard to, in my mind, it's pretty hard to compare a property in Ridgedale to something in our area.
Those properties actually, they have restrictions too, like they have to have cedar shakes on their roof, they have they're very upscale properties. Much different than, even though they're next to us, they're much different than our little area. We don't,
Over from us. It's
Yeah.
not next to us.
yeah, they have the forest behind them, they're like
A lot of
beautiful, they're beautiful home, winding staircases, like they're beautiful homes. Much different than the homes in our area so the
So
two
you've got
properties,
some comparables here.
yeah, so those
Would you
were,
like to present those?
sure, so I'm just addressing her comparables, that's saying why they weren't comparable to ours, in our mind.
And again, a lot of ours, when we submitted the verbiage, that was based on the one story. When we got more information, I'd like to talk about those too. I know the assessor hasn't had the opportunity to look at it, but I'd like to include that because this morning I did paper napkin calculations on cost per square foot to see if it is comparable. But really, there's some ones that really stand out to me. 9 Christopher Cove. It's Christopher Cove is just off of
It's
McAllen
just a little
Crescent, just
cool
around the
McAllen,
corner.
so just, we can, yeah,
Same neighborhood,
There.
same feel of neighborhood.
Is this part of your,
our submission, yeah,
Yeah, it's in the verbiage.
in the late?
no, and the new,
Oh,
and the first one, and
Okay.
not the lead, the original.
Yeah.
So number seven, point number seven
7B.
B,
And you should have a assessment letter. A screen print of this.
Christopher Cove?
Yeah,
number
9 Christopher Cove.
Okay, this is an assessment?
The
these were that was a sale of that 9 Christopher Cove.
yes, so 9 Christopher Cove sold for $610,000 in 2021 with an adjusted price from the city's website of $642,000. But nice home, does not carry any of the negative influences that our home does because it's further away.
So it doesn't have the pump house, the traffic, or the condo development.
Yeah, so, would be a somewhat of a comparable home to what we had. The additional homes that we submitted, that are comparable, 10 Monarch Mews, which is off of Bassalund. And all of these have similar square footage and, similar yard size, or I don't know the terminology. That is the same as ours. It sold in 2022 at 710. The time adjusted went down to 661, 700. And then their dollar per square foot is $291.24. Christopher Cove was $287.52.
That
other one-
doesn't look like it would be similar to your home, though. That's a two-story home, isn't it?
What
It
ours
doesn't
is,
have
that's the point.
That's the point.
That's
is
the
that ours
issue
is
here.
I thought it was a loft over the garage.
Hmm?
That
Two-
is 438
No, no.
square feet.
To the breakdown actually is, the
60.
loft over the garage, what is around 270 square feet. There is a
Other.
loft over our kitchen, our whole kitchen has a loft over it.
Which leads into a bed.
167 square feet, somewhere around there. Total together, the two of them are 439.
Okay,
So there's a bedroom and a loft basically on the second floor. That goes over our kitchen and our garage.
all right.
Okay,
And so
And
the main floor has 1671 square feet, and then the upper level has 439 square feet.
So that'd be more like a split level than.
I don't know what you
No,
call
a
it.
story and a half.
A story
Story
and a half. A story and a half is kind of, yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
And we do have like the floor, the original floor plans if you needed to see.
the builder's plan.
We just, yeah.
okay, I'm gonna turn it, is that the end of your presentation, or would you like to?
Well, just so making it quick, we looked at similar homes, similar square footage.
The submissions that we had, our
Yeah.
next door neighbor who built at the very same time,
And looking at the number per square footage, like the value per
Dollar.
square footage. We went from a high to low, we took out the low, we took out the high, and we just did the four
And-
that were in between.
and did the average of the rest
Yeah,
to come up with $1. Those came of those submissions, $272.55 per square foot. Which, and I'm going to add another issue on here based on these plans that we had to dig out of 20 years of storage. A value of $601,000. 601,518.
That's what you're saying the assessment should be, is that what is that?
With this new information comparison, originally we had said 620.
because we were comparing it to a bungalow before, but then when we started
When
comparing
we-
it to two-story, then we kind of saw it was a bit of a
It was
difference.
high, we thought.
There was one other issue, and I don't, when you look at the numbers 671 and 439, it actually comes up to a square footage of 2110. Which we have
Which is on these
stamped
plans.
and whatever on these plans, when
Where the
ours,
city has 2207.
2207,
Similar problem as the other.
right? Which we did not realize until just digging out these plans actually,
From
so.
20 years ago, 20 odd years ago.
So the actual square footage on your home then is 2,110 square feet.
2110 is
Based on
what it says on these
based on these
plans, and
plans.
we have done, there's been no upgrades at all since we.
Yeah, we have not done any
In the
upgrades.
21 years
And-
we've been there.
And these, if you look at these submissions, you can see that they've done a number of upgrades in 2020. So, the inside would look a lot nicer than what we have currently
Okay.
and built with.
Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to the assessor. Do you have any questions, Ms. Caplevy?
I do just have a question, but I guess a comment, those plans there, I don't even know how this works during an appeal, but hopefully you can get them over to the assessment department, because as I said, we have something different on file here. There had been contact with you, and of course, you would have received your assessment notice over the years. So I'm not sure why this has never been addressed
Ms.
previously
Kathleen,
to now.
we
But,
cannot consider the plans here. The
Yeah.
board cannot consider the plans here today, nor can we check on the house on Google
Okay.
Maps.
Okay, the only
so
thing
we
then
cannot-
I do have a rebuttal there, which may be helpful to everybody. If it can be just looked at, it's just kind of an aerial view of the subject property. So it is showing their concerns. And I guess I did just want to ask the owner here. I was able to confirm from the Google Street View that the main access to this sub pump that you're referring to is off Roblin. Is that correct?
Correct.
The main access.
Yeah.
is- yes.
Okay, and then there's quite a long, you're not right adjacent to that pump house,
Is it
the
online?
property on Roblin is, correct?
Do we have it?
I missed that, sorry.
In here.
Looking at the aerial view there, like you're quite a distance from the pump house. You got,
Oh,
Our
Right at
back of our
base
property.
there.
would-
yeah,
back-
so adjacent to the pump house is the property on Roblin, correct?
Right adjacent.
Right.
Yes.
adjacent.
Our
Okay,
backyard.
Thank you. And then just to confirm
But our
as well,
yard
the
is
multifamily that
15
you
feet
talked
from-
about.
Okay, I think we should take a short break because I think we need to look at the rebuttal evidence before we proceed any further. And I think also we need to have the applicants look at the rebuttal evidence before we proceed, Ms. Caplady. So,
It's just an aerial map, so sure, go ahead.
okay,
okay,
Thank you.
so, I'm just going to make sure that you guys have it, let's. Here. Okay, I'm going to give it to you, and then I'm going to,
To tell us.
do we
Oh,
have it?
okay. This
yes,
is-
just.
This
a
would
moment,
be
okay, so I
ours.
have to make sure,
That would be the
I can't
proposed.
give you the rebuttal until the assessor speaks,
So that's the
mentions
house,
it,
where does the
so
property end? Right there, so the property, yes, the property's about.
just
what,
give me a
15
moment.
Sure.
16 feet from the.
Just gonna check my permit. What are we doing?
Okay, board members, the rebuttal is in your hearing folder, hearing evidence for board members. And it's called 42 McCallum. It's a Word document.
Date evidence 42 McCall.
No, it's
Oh,
called
yeah.
42 McCallum. Maybe if you get out of, just close out of that folder. And then open it again.
Pictures, 2014.
No. Just going to, there you go. Okay, and it's.
Oh, here, it's right at the
McCallum.
top under number
40.
7 PM orders.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
there you go, right there.
Okay.
Okay.
there it is. Okay. Thank you for your patience.
Okay.
It's the aerial view.
Yeah. Nice roof.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Assessor, we now have your rebuttal evidence.
Okay, thank you. I just asked the homeowners the one question and then I just want to confirm the commercial adjacent is 6 units of townhouse, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so it's not a multi 300 units.
No, it's, but not the wooded area that we moved into.
Not
Yeah.
the single family home that we moved
Okay,
into.
okay. Okay, I have no other questions there.
Thank you. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do, for the homeowner. On your main floor, you've got a set of stairs going up to your second level.
Right.
Mhm.
And is there also a set of stairs going down to the basement? That's sort of reversed from that?
Yes,
So yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
it-
the stairs
it-
go from the kitchen to the basement and then the stairs go from the, as soon as you walk into the front lobby
living
into the
room
house,
up.
it goes up to the
Right.
loft and then bedroom.
So it gives you the feeling that it is a two-story within the house.
Correct.
And
You're-
sometimes my legs tell me that too.
As soon as you walk into the house, you see the stairs
Yes.
going upstairs.
So you've got a bedroom upstairs as well as a den.
Yeah, a bedroom and we use it as an office, so as an office and
Yeah.
with
A
open,
loft.
it's not enclosed, it's open, the loft part, but the bedroom part is closed
Okay.
with a window and everything.
See,
Perfect, thank you very much. No further questions. Oh, one other question. The pump. What is that pump for?
sewage.
Sewage treatment, I believe,
So that's a lift pump then?
it's a what, pardon?
A lift pump?
I was, when speaking to the gentlemen who were working on it, the explanation I got was it was a pump house that pumped sewage from, I'll say Portage Avenue under the river across.
So that
That's
those
the
three
explanation I
stories
had.
down apparently, and because of the increased development in Charleswood too, they had to do the renovations, from what I understand. To accommodate the increased development, that's when they made all these changes and it's been detrimental to our.
And where is the pump house located?
So and from our backyard, it is like,
Can you see it?
I see a aerial picture of your, if you can give me a directional thing, like
You,
south.
it is actually south of our property, top of the page.
so
Can-
it faces,
can I show you?
the entrance is on Roblin, the entrance to it is on Roblin.
You can't come over to show me,
Okay,
but
Did I-
the entrance of it is to Roblin
see.
and then, and it's a little, like a little shack, a little, what,
You'll-
If I look at your backyard left corner, I see a little the gazebo thing there, what do you call it, an archway? Is it right behind there?
Right
the
behind
fence?
there,
That's
that's
the
right.
building,
That's
the
our-
building.
that's
Okay.
it, that's right
That's the
behind
pump
there.
Close to,
It's like,
close
it looks
to,
like a garage, right? It's-
yes, yes,
it's
that's
big,
what it
so I
looks
can see
like.
it in one of the pictures from your
Right,
backyard.
so after our
That's it.
little archway,
Yes,
it's
it's
right
right
behind
there.
there.
That's
Okay.
right.
That was forest before.
I think I asked the homeowners, if you just want to look there at the map, that it does show an address there of 5721. And so it's right adjacent to the house on Roblin. It's 5719.
Right. So our backyard is right beside that, basically.
Okay.
That's,
Kitty corner.
Yeah.
From the back.
so when
corner
I'm
of the
doing
property.
my gardening, you get that smell and it's, yeah, it's not pleasant.
okay, Mr. Marks, do you have any other questions?
No, that's it for me.
Mr. Robinson?
No, I have no more questions.
Okay, and I don't have any other questions, summation?
no.
Madam Assessor? Ask,
Um,
summation?
Again, just a summation, 3 adverse factors that are not considered in the comparable properties that the assessor had brought. Again, the adverse factors being condo development, the traffic noise that we have, and the sewage pump house that we have that adversely affect our property. The comparable properties also did not include 1.5 story, whatever you want to call it. Our property also has vinyl siding, and the properties that the assessor had noted, again, they're much more upscale. Two of them, they're clad in stone and brick and beautiful. So 2 of those are in our mind would be valued much higher. They're beautiful homes. Ours is, like I said, the vinyl siding, which according to our realtor is not as, I guess, as upscale as brick and stone. So,
Okay, Thank you very much for
Anything else?
your presentation.
I thank you
Okay.
for allowing us to
And
present.
thanks for your patience.
And I guess just that we use this per square footage kind of thing when we calculated that 620, but yeah, looking at those homes at per square foot.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And we will now move on to number 10, which is 345 Carpathia.
Madam Chair, you take the.
Oh, all right. We are going to take a short break, 5 minutes. Is that enough?
Yes. Okay, I will put the assessor in the waiting room.
I don't think we have the
No,
applicant.
I will let the applicant in right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello,
thank-
Ms. Wright.
Hello,
Could you please swear in the applicant?
Yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
Jennifer Lynn Wright.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Madam Assessor, over to you for your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The subject property is 12072801000345 Carpathia Road, located in the neighborhood of Sir John Franklin. It is a two-story single dwelling built in 1951 with an effective year built of 1956. It is 1786 square feet, a full basement with basement finish. It has one full bath and one half bath. It has central air conditioning and one fireplace. It has a multiple detached garage and an assessed lot size of 6,499 square feet. The comparable 1 through 4 are all on Carpathia Road, all in the Sir John Franklin neighborhood. They are all two-story single dwellings with basement finish. They are built between 1949 to 1951 and have an effective year built of 1951 to 1971. The square footage of the comparables range from 1581 square feet to 1806 square feet. Comparable 1 has a total of 3 bathrooms. Comparable 2 has a total of 4 bathrooms. Comparable 3 and 4 have a total of 2 bathrooms. All the comparables have central air conditioning. Comparable 3 has a fireplace, same as the subject. All comparables have a detached multiple garage. Comparable 3 has a sunroom. The lot sizes of the comparables range from 6,498 square feet to 6,499 square feet. The sales price of the comparables range from $392,000 to $595,000. The time adjusted sales price ranges from $436,000 to $577,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $276 to $362. The subject property has a 2025 assessment roll value of $501,000, which is $280.52 per square foot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Wright, do you have questions of the assessor?
No, I don't.
Okay, Mr. Marks, do you have questions of the assessor?
None for me, thank you.
Mr. Robinson?
And none for me at this time either.
Okay, and I have none, so we will move on to your presentation, please, Ms. Wright.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to note that the email that I sent in, I put in online pricing for neighboring property 349. Since that time, I think it was Crystal from your office who sent me the residential comparable sales report. She also gave me a link to go in and find the time adjusted information. So the information that I have today is up to date for time adjusted for 2023. So I did want to note that error on my part in terms of the information that I presented.
Okay, thank you. So
Okay.
please proceed with your information.
Sure. So to set the context, I'd like to note that the 2024 property assessment for my property was valued at 478,000. And I negotiated with the assessor, and we brought that down to 450,000 on a one-time basis, with information that if I wanted that to be permanently considered, I would need to come to this process. So here I am. The reason that I'm here is not so much that I'm debating the comparables that were presented. I think my property is probably closest to comparable 4. There's been, new windows and doors. I think that property has original windows and doors, and I've done quite a bit of painting. I expect my garage is newer. I think that was built in 2015, sometime before I moved in. So I can see where it's in line. My concern, though, is neighboring properties that were sold right next to me in 2022, property 349 and property 353. Could I show a map on the screen?
No. Unfortunately not, but we do have these are all on Carpathia.
That's correct. Okay, so I'm looking at the map that was attached
Yeah.
to residential comparable sales report, and the property directly to the south of me is 349. And that property was sold in 2022. And so the adjusted price for 2023, according to the information that I have, would be 369,900. And I recognize that that property is smaller in square footage, and it is likely, I'm not sure, I haven't been in, but is likely not as up to date. But I note that that is a much different valuation than my home. And then I also note property 353, which is the next one south to 349. And that property was sold in 2022 and is time adjusted valued in 2023 for 298,200. And that one I consider less comparable. It was a co-op. I think it needed to be renovated quite extensively to be adjusted into the Airbnb that it is today. It doesn't have a garage. But I would consider 349 worth discussion in terms of how that might temper the value of my property. I would like to request that it be placed at 473. I'm willing to discuss other options. I just think 501 is high.
All right, thank you. Ms. Assessor, do you have any questions?
Yes, Miss Applicant, you did say that 349 Carpathia was in fact smaller than your house, correct?
Yes, I think it is, yes.
Yeah, it's 1287 as opposed to yours, so it's 499 square feet smaller. So would you not agree that a house larger would sell for more then?
I would, yeah.
Yes, okay, and just then that house per square foot works out to $287.41 per square foot. And yours is in fact, if you can see there on my brief, $280.52 square feet. Or $280.52 per square feet. You would agree with that?
I agree, that's there, and I did not make that observation.
Okay, okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson?
I have no questions.
Mr. Marks?
And I have no question. Thank you very much.
And I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you very much for your patience and your presentation today. And we will now move on to number 17 on our docket.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And is Mr. Bishop still here? Okay, okay, so.
Mr. Bishop?
All right,
Thank you for waiting.
maybe they'll give me a credit for this.
We meet again.
Hey, I know. Do you think I'll get a credit on my value just for waiting so long?
Absolutely.
That would be really nice.
Yes.
Oh, you recognize me,
Please
did you?
do. I do recognize you.
Mr. applicant, would you please stand? Would you please state your full name?
John Bishop.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you for your patience. We've got a very long docket today.
Yes.
You just happen to be right at the end of it, so. I will hand it over to our assessor for her presentation, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The subject property is 070516060000. It is 226 Overdale Street in the Deer Lodge neighborhood. It is a one-story single dwelling built in 1926 with an effective year built of 1936. The living area is 1,415 square feet with full part basement area. Basement finish. It has one full bath, one half bath with a shower. It has central air conditioning, one fireplace, and a detached multiple garage. The assessed lot size is 6,008 square feet. The comparables 1 through 4, 3 of them are right on Overdale at 281 Overdale, comparable 1. 242 Overdale, comparable 2, and comparable 4 at 249 Overdale. Comparable 3 is 462 Linwood Street in the same neighborhood area, Deer Lodge. All comparables are one-story single dwellings with basements, and comparable 1, 2, and 3 have basement finish. The year built of the comparables are 1926 to 1952. The effective year built is 1926 to 1962. All comparables have one full bath, one half bath, and one shower. Comparable 3 has central air conditioning. Comparable 1 and 4 have a fireplace. Comparable 2 has 2 fireplaces. Comparable 1 and 4 have a detached single garage. Comparable 3 has a detached multiple garage. The assessed lot sizes of the comparables range from 5,747 square feet to 6,014 square feet. The sales prices of the comparables range from 336,000 to 424,000. The time adjusted sales price ranged from 356,000 to 392,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $256 to $328. The 2025 assessment roll of the subject property is $393,000, which is a per square foot ratio of $277.74 per square foot. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, do you have questions of the assessor?
Yes, I do. Yep. Would you agree with me that home sales and values were higher in 2022 than 2023?
The 2022, the time adjusted to April 1st, 2023 went down.
The interest rates went down?
No.
The sales prices went down.
Oh, yeah, went down. So they
to
did go down in
2023.
2023?
Yeah, and you can see by the comparables there, the sales in 2022 are time adjusted down.
And were the interest rates higher in 2023?
I can't speak on behalf of the interest rates.
Okay, so when the property's assessed at value, it's done by computer generated, right?
The assessments are based on comparable sales. Assessments take place every 2 years. So for the 2025 cycle, it is sales from April 1st, 2021 to April 1st, 2023.
But it's done by computer, right?
It's model driven.
Yeah.
It's a model driven that the modelers do, and they load all the sales into the
But one person
database.
doesn't look at your property and say that's what it's valued at. It's.
We do look at it, we do look at it in terms of this now, and we look at the comparables and compare them to the subject.
Only
to see
after
The
it's assessed,
assessment is supported.
but only after it's assessed. Is when you start looking at the comparables.
Well, in regards to an appeal application, yes, we look, but it's done all ahead of time as well.
Okay, so when a house is sold. Is there? When people buy homes, do they look at the quality or the finishing products of the home when they buy the house?
I don't know, that's up to an individual purchaser, what's important to them.
Would you think a house would be higher in value if it had higher quality finishing?
If a house is renovated, yes, it would be usually sell for more.
Okay, so why you're in your comparables, you only used homes in 2022, but you didn't use 23? Why?
We only go to April 1st, 2023, and I thought that the sales here, specifically the 3 on Overdale, were great comparables because they were even on your street.
But yet all my comparables are from 2023 before April.
That's fine.
Why-
There's a choice of many, many different comparables, but I went with the comparables that were right on your street.
But did you not agree with me that the interest rates were higher in 2020?
I can't speak on behalf of the interest rates. I'm speaking on
You
behalf
have
of
an
the sales
opportunity to
prices.
present your comparables, sir.
Okay,
So
that's all I have.
that's all the questions you
Yeah.
have? Okay, thank you. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, thank you very much.
Mr. Robinson?
I don't have any right now.
Okay. And I don't have any right now, so we're gonna turn it over to you, Mr. Bishop, for your
Okay.
presentation, please.
Okay, all my comparable sales are in 2023, which is the reference year that we're talking about. How far back can you go when you're doing reference years?
2021 to April 1st, 2023.
Okay, why did you go to 2020?
Sometimes we do allow 2020 into the data, and that was a sale on Overdale.
I'm
That's
just
why
kind
I
of
used
wondering
that
how
one.
far back I can go because you're allowed to use. It seems like further back than I'm allowed to, so that's what I was kind of wondering.
Well, do you have a 2020 sale? You
No,
can include
I'm-
that if you wish to.
I didn't because
Okay.
it says the reference year is 2023. So most of my comparables consist of 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. In between 1,250 and 1,500 square feet. And they were all purchased before April 1st, 2023. If you look at them, when you compare the sales, they all fall within a consistent price that I'm going to show you that my house is at. Because most of the properties consist of different qualities and higher priced materials, it is just to mention the less qualities and lower price materials in my property. My house was built in 2026 and has issues with poor insulation. The previous owner injected insulation in the walls, but could not fully and properly insulate. You can also see where all the holes were. So I have pictures of this.
Did you submit the pictures as part of your evidence? Because we cannot consider them if you did not submit them as part of your evidence.
The evidence is in my papers. It coincides with what I'm going to present. It says it right there on paper. Why can't I show you the picture if it says it?
Because we cannot share that information with the assessor at this stage of the game, and so you have submitted evidence here.
Would you allow me to submit it as late evidence?
No. We can't do that, sir.
Oh, can't pass it around as
No,
Okay,
we couldn't let the former applicants do that either, sir, just so that you know.
well, you did an aerial view though.
But that was submitted as evidence by the assessor
That was.
as a rebuttal, and we decided to accept
Okay.
the rebuttal of the assessor in that
Okay,
particular case.
okay, so my garage is not usable for vehicles because the garage doors don't open. The whole garage is a foot sunk a foot. So, does it lessen the value of a home when you don't have a garage? Do you have a garage, but you can't use it? But I guess that's my question, another question. So
You know what, continue to
Yeah,
present your
okay.
evidence and
All right.
then the assessor can ask questions and we can ask questions.
Okay.
And if you have other questions, then you can ask them at that time.
So my square footage is wrong. It's 1,300 square feet. There was a porch. That was originally was a porch, I'm assuming, and was turned into a four-season room. And when I bought the property, not realizing that it wasn't going to insulate it, and there was heat inside of it. And they must have patched the walls up before we bought it, because after a year, all my plaster was coming off the ceiling from the wall. The addition was pulling my wall away from the house. And so I had to remove that addition that they built. And that was about 100 square feet. And that was a part of the total square footage, which is 1,400. So if you do a market, the rental per square foot, it would lower my value down by 100 square feet. Based on her 277 would lower it around 30 grand right there. My kitchen is from the late 50s. It's got laminated countertops and old painted cabinet. I have pictures, but obviously you can't look at them. My bathroom consists of vinyl flooring, older bathtub and sinks. This is a major issue here in my basement. Is my height in my basement is only 5'8".
I wouldn't fit in there.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's not usable. I mean, you can use it for storage, and my young grandchildren play in it. But for a place to actually entertain and have the TV and a rec room down there, you can't. So I think in terms of value, that kind of devalues my property considerable, because you're not really allowed to, you can't really use the basement. I mean, I have the pictures. It's too bad you can't look at it. Based on my comparables, the average sale in 2023 was 295,000, with an average of 1,350 square feet. The age of the home averaged around 1935, and the number of bedrooms averaged between 3 and 2, which are similar to mine. I believe my property was assessed does not bear a fair and just value when you compare it to my comparable sales in 2022 reference year. From 2021, my home has increased over 100,000 in assessed value from 291 to 393. I believe my property value should be comparable to the list of comparable sales, which is 295,000. The assessed comparables reference years do not set a standard and a fair comparable, because sales and values were higher in 2022 and interest rates were higher in 2023. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Cavallini, do you have questions of the applicant?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Mr. Applicant, your property is a bungalow, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so you realize we compare bungalows to bungalows. So if I look
agree.
at your comparable, you list 4 one-stories, correct?
In my comparables?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and if I did research further, and 18 Red Roblin is in fact a 2-story. So then we're looking at the remaining 3 one-stories, correct?
Not based on what I found. I didn't see that. I can bring it up and take a look to see, but
Yeah, 18 Red Robin Place is a 2-story according to our records. Okay, so if I look at your 1-stories, 464 Strathmillan, are you aware that it is a slab foundation and has no basement?
no, I'm not. No.
Okay. And also Strathmillan is on a much busier street. It has negative land influences. Are you aware of those?
I lived on Strathmillan. Overdale is in front of the park. I don't even get the park in front of my house.
Yeah, you have a boulevard that's divided, and Strathmillan does have negative land influences of bus route, external corner, and heavy traffic, which would significantly contribute to the value of the property.
Well, I wouldn't, not being able to park in front of your house be a considerable devalue?
No, that would not have a bearing. And
Are you saying that it's
other
not busy?
your other comparable 2547 Assiniboine, that one has no basement finish. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not actually, no.
Okay, and my last question is, why did you choose one-story sales that were not in your neighborhood, as there were many sales in your neighborhood and even on your street?
Oh, why? Because I took the reference year 2023, having the interest rates at a higher rate, which is a fair way to look at it. I mean, the reference year is 2023. I mean, if you want to go back to 2020, obviously you can. But I thought it'd be a fair, because the reference year is 2023. In terms of
The reference date is April 1st, 2023, and we look at sales from April 1st, 2021 to April 1st, 2023. We reassess properties every 2 years.
But you went to 2020, so that's not true.
Yes, there is 120 in there because it was on Overdale, as I explained.
But still, you're allowed to do it, I'm not. In fact, you're saying that Strathmillan is a very busy street. Overdale's right across from the park, Assiniboine Park. Sergeant Sundays is on Portage and Overdale. That is probably the busiest street in Winnipeg, is Overdale and Portage. So I don't know where you're talking about that Overdale is not busy. I can't even park in front of my house and I pay taxes.
Overdale is a beautiful street. There are definitely other streets in Winnipeg that would be more busy. Overdale actually has a boulevard in it too. It's a beautiful, considered a higher street in that neighborhood, and it is no comparison to Strathmillan.
I'm sorry, but have you ever tried to park on Overdale?
Yes, I have, and I've also tried to park on other streets that have the same things.
I lived on Strathmillan.
Okay,
Thank you.
I just want to finish this up. Strathmillan has all driveways. Most of the homes have driveways in front of their homes. Is that not true?
I don't know about Strathmillan. I know
Yes.
some have driveways on Overdale as well. Some properties have driveways and some
I
don't.
think there's 3 on Overdale. From Nest to Portage, I can pretty sure guarantee. Strathmillan has all driveways.
Yes,
can
and
park in front of
Strathmillan
your-
is a busier street. It
Right.
has a bus route.
So does
and
Overdale.
Traffic.
They clean our street first before they clean anybody else. So there's a reason for it. So anyway.
You also
I think
have a
over,
multiple detached garage, is that not right?
I have a detached garage that's not usable, yes.
Oh, it's not usable.
No, like I have a picture, I can show you, it's
No,
something,
we
but
can't, we can't look at that, sir, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, you did
Yes.
just ask about your garage, and we do have it down as a 1926 garage, so it's contributing very little value, if any.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, do you have any other questions, Ms. Caplevy?
No, I do not. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Robinson?
My question has been answered, thank you.
Mr. Marks?
My question then asked and answered, thank you.
I just have one question. I see there's a subject sale on this property. November 27th, 2018 for $320,000. Is that when you bought the property?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you said something about having purchased it for $291,000, or what was the $291,000?
No, that's what it was assessed at,
When you purchased it?
or the city assessment was 291.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you purchased it for 320
Yes,
in 2018?
Yeah.
Okay.
but of course, since then, I've had to remove the 100 square foot addition.
That was gonna be my other
Yeah.
question, if you've advised the city of.
No, I
that
haven't
fact.
actually, no.
Okay. You should maybe do that. That
Yeah.
might be in your best interest to do that for sure.
Okay,
I don't think I have any other questions. Summation, either of you? Mrs. Assessor?
Yes, I asked that the assessment be confirmed. My sales that are even right on the same street that are very comparable to the property support the assessment of 393,000. Thank you.
Would you like to make a
Yes,
submission?
I've been in those two homes on Overdale because they were up for sale while I was there. And their quality of finishing is by far greater than mine. They have granite countertops, tiles. I mean, the finishing product, you can't even compare them. And back in 2020, my son's a real estate agent. Offers, you were getting about 30 offers per home. Home sales were exceeding over the asking price in 2022. So I think there's a huge difference between 2022 and 2023.
Okay,
And my comparables are in the reference year of 2023. So I think my comparables should be included in this as evidence.
and they will definitely be considered.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I thank you both for your presentations, and that concludes number 17 on our docket, which is 226 Overdale Street. And now I think we're gonna have to take a recess for a few minutes. Thank you for your patience.
All right, have a good day.
Anyway, we
We'll
have
it at your place
decided,
next time.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Mr. Marks.
We'll have it at your place next time.
We have decided we're going to hear number 7, so if you'd like to make your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The subject property is 120512351100. It is at 841 Oak Street, located in South River Heights. It is a 4-level split, single dwelling built in 1959. It is 2,664 square feet. It has a full basement and basement finish. There's 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bath, and 2 showers. It has central air conditioning and 1 fireplace. It has a detached multiple garage, and the assessed lot size is 9,417 square feet. The comparables are all in the same neighborhood, South River Heights. All comparables are 4-level splits, single dwellings with full basement and basement finish. The year built is 1962 to 1970, with an effective year built of 1963 to 1972. The living area ranges from 2,542 square feet to 2,636 square feet. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 have a total of 3 bathrooms. Comparable 4 has a total of 4 bathrooms. All comparables have central air conditioning and fireplace. Comparable 1, 2, and 4 have a detached multiple garage. The lot sizes are 5,187 square feet to 5,607 square feet. The sales prices of the comparables are 555,000 to 641,000. The time adjusted sales price is 617,000 to 672,000. The time adjusted sales price per square foot is $241 to $264. The 2025 assessment roll value of the subject property is 588,000, which is the total assessment per square foot. The lowest is 220.72 cents per square foot. I did email the homeowner on November 20th to inquire about the property, and I had not heard from him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Robinson, any questions?
In a 4-level split with a full basement, is the entire 2,664 square feet include the basement? In a 4-level split?
No, it includes part of the basement.
Okay, I lived in one, I was just curious, that was the same as my part of the basement. Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Mr. Marks?
No question for me, thank you.
I'm just looking at your comparison number 4, and it looks like the time adjusted sale price has gone up substantially from the sale price of September 9th, 2020. Were there extensive renovations to this property or?
I have my notes say there was a newer kitchen and some new flooring. The time adjusted sales price went up quite a bit because that sale did take place at the end of 2020.
Okay, I think that's all my questions, and that completes number 7. And that brings us to the end of the docket today, so I will now adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You were the Minister of Family Services and Housing many, many years ago, right?
I was one of the assistant deputy ministers. Yes.
Okay, yes, I worked for Family Services when you were
You know
the,
what? I thought you looked familiar to me when I first saw you, and I was trying to figure out where I had seen you before. So did you work for Employment and Income Assistance?
I did many years ago.
Yeah, well, I was there many years